President extends his wishes to the Sri Lankan Olympic contingent that will take part in Rio Olympics. People continue to rally around the torch of hope to wish the Sri Lankan contingent.
A decision on the proposed Customs Act will be taken following a thorough study. A statement by the President.
274 kilograms of cocaine discovered from Paliagoda.
A post office in Petta on fire. Welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandru Ferdinando.
And I'm Arundhati Mudarnayak. Let's take a look at the stories in detail now. A discussion between President Maithripala Sirisena and the members of the Customs Officers Association took place today, centred on the introduction of the new Customs Act.
During this discussion, the Customs Officers Association apprised the President that most of the facts included in the Act have been taken from the Customs Acts of other countries, and due to that, the Act is not suitable for Sri Lanka. President Sirisena had emphasised that the future steps will be taken subsequent to consultation with the officers of the Finance Ministry and Customs Department within the next 3 weeks, following a comprehensive examination of the existing and proposed Customs Act. The President further said that he will not give his consent to any proposed amendment of the Act, which would relax the existing rules. He added that he would pay attention regarding the possibility of adjusting deficiencies of the existing Act.
Welcome back to the news. A fire broke out at a post office located down Olcott Martha in Petta this afternoon. According to the police, the post office suffered extensive damages due to the fire. The Colombo Fire Service Department noted that the fire was contained and that 5 fire engines were dispatched to the location. According to the police, shops located on either side of the post office also sustained damages as a result of the fire.
The 100 days begin. Reconstruction of the Damanayaya Alokalavavi Road in Damulla. Drinking water facilities for the Parantan Mixed School in Kilinochchi.
දීර්ඝ කාලයක් අපේ දරුවෝ බොන්න වතුර ටිකක් නැතුව දුක් විඳා. පානීය ජල සැලැස්මක් අද ක්‍රියාත්මක කරපු Newsfirst කණ්ඩායමට මම මගේ ස්තුතිය පුද කරනවා.
Drinking water facilities for the village of Borala, Valigama.
මේ පින ඇති නිවන් දකින්න එච්චර දුකක් අපේ ගම්මානේ වතුර නැතුව වින්දේ. ජාතික සේවසාතේ වින්දෙනවා අපි.
Bringing smiles to the faces of our people. Kammadda will be in your village soon. Kammadda Dinasiya Day 2.
What you just witnessed was footage from the commencement of the Kammadda 100-day initiative, which took place yesterday.
The Kammadda 100-day initiative continued to receive praise both locally and internationally.
Our aim is to complete 100 projects within a span of 100 days.
Be the change. You too could be a part of this public initiative. Here are some of the projects through which you can create a difference.
This shrubber area, located in close proximity to the Telugu village in Anuradhapura, has been split into 2 parts, male and female. This is not because of any natural reason. It is merely because the 200 families living in this village only have 2 usable toilets. These residents make a living through odd jobs and acts such as training monkeys. We lack sanitation facilities and supply of water. We request you to provide us with this. Women have no choice but to go to the forest since there isn't a toilet. The aim of the Kammadda 100 Day is to create a brighter future for these people. The lack of a proper sanitation facility is also an issue that plagues residents living in these housing schemes, located in Kalmune, Ampara.
Around 300 families reside here. We are facing a grave difficulty because of these toilets. The toilets get clogged during the rainy season.
The lives of these people living in Kavantisapura Seruvilla has been endangered due to the threat of wild elephant attacks. It has even reached a stage where these people have been forced to abandon their farmlands due to this threat. Through the Come at the 100 Days initiative, we hope to erect an electric fence which spans around 4.5 kilometers in order to provide a safe environment for these area residents.
We are afraid to go out because of elephant attacks.
Houses are damaged and people are chased away. There are over 1,500 in the area. Therefore, it will be great if a fence is constructed to obstruct elephants from entering here.
274 kilograms of cocaine was discovered from a container yard in Paliagada this afternoon. The discovery was made based on a tip-off received by the Police Narcotics Bureau. The police noted that the stocks of cocaine were concealed among sacks of imported sugar. Also in local news, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board has announced that a 10.5-hour-long water cut will be in effect in a number of areas in the Kalutara and Gaur districts with effect from 8 a.m. tomorrow. The water cut will be in effect as a result of a scheduled maintenance work of the Ceylon Electricity Board. Thereby, the water supply to areas such as Waduwa, Waskaduwa, Potupitiya, Morontutua, Kalutara North, Kalutara South, Katukurunda, Nagoda, Bentota, Payagala, Magonna, Beruwala, Kaluamodara, Moragala, Aludgama and Piliminavatta will be disrupted.
Footage of a conflict between two groups of bus drivers in the Kataragama bus stand, which occurred yesterday, was recorded on a mobile phone.
Serius ya, ini udah. Reporter, මට කියවන්න එන්න එපා. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ප්‍රශ්න ඔයගොල්ලෝ විසඳගන්න. මම සිරස එකේ මට කියවන්න එන්න එපා. පුල්ලාඩි. අවිල චි එන්නේ බේලේ යන්නේ. අරනේ දැම්බලා. කවුද ඉන්නේ තව? මෙන්න මූට ගෑපේ. කවුද ඔයානේ උටි ගෑවේ? ඔව්. කොයිද ඉන්නේ තව ඇතුළේ ඉන්නවද? අර.
Views were expressed in Parliament today with regard to the recent clash that took place at the Jaffna University.
I do not think, sir, we should exacerbate this situation, and I think there is a duty cast on all of us to act with restraint. Whether there had been some political motivation behind all these incidents is also a matter that the government should address and take cognizance of. Such political motivation, Mr. Deputy Speaker, could be to deliberately deter the process of reconciliation, and such activity, you would agree, could be intended to jeopardize the country's main goal of reconciliation and unity amongst all people. We must nevertheless be conscious of the fact that there are certain elements in this country who are trying to create mischief, and that those elements cannot be allowed to have a free run.
The students of the Jaffna University the Sinhalese and the Tamil students have very clearly said that there is no difference of any animosity towards any community, and the Sinhalese are living very closely with the Tamils, and the Tamils are living very closely with the Sinhalese. Because majority of the Sinhalese students are staying in Tamil homes. So there has been no problem whatsoever. The Vice Chancellor of the University has taken necessary steps to hold an inquiry immediately, and the report will be ready probably in another 10 days' time. Once the report is ready, we will know exactly what the position is, and the University Senate as well as the UGC probably will take necessary action to bring the people concerned to books. But I want to emphasize that there has been some elements behind this whole issue, maybe to provoke the situation, and that is a very unfortunate situation. But as far as the ground situation is concerned, the students of Jaffna University, Sinhalese and Tamil, are living very amicably with one another.
Making a statement in Parliament today, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized that the government will not be toppled through the budget. The Prime Minister expressed these views while briefing the Parliament on his tour of Singapore. Singaporean Prime Minister Lee expressed his delight regarding the victory of President Sirisena's as well as the formation of a national government by the two largest parties in the country. He promised to render assistance to develop the economy of the country. During my visit, I highlighted the need to improve the efficiency of the state services, and the Singaporean Prime Minister pledged his support in this regard as well. We have already submitted applications to the European Union to regain GSP Plus concessions. We will be signing economic and trade agreements with China, Singapore, Japan and the European Union and India to create more jobs in the country. These agreements are not being signed to create jobs for those coming in from overseas. During one period, there were labourers who were brought in from Bangladesh to work in the construction sector. We will not allow such things to happen during our tenure. The Civil Aviation Minister is currently formulating plans to develop the Matha International Airport. We have already received requests by private organizations with regard to the possibility of collaborating with the government to develop the Mathala Airport. We will be able to bring in 1 million passengers to this airport. Until now, only one airplane operated from the airport. On one particular day, the only air traffic at the airport was me arriving in a helicopter. We plan on finding solutions to all these issues through the national government within the next 5 years. We plan on continuing with our programs for the next 5 years. Some are of the opinion that we will fall after the next budget. But once the next budget is presented and passed, I will ask our female members of parliament in the opposite aisle to come and take a seat on this side. Join us. There are quite a few who are already prepared to join us.
Large crowds gathered today as well to extend their wishes to the Torch of Hope rally, which is currently underway to muster support for the Sri Lankan athletes representing the country at the upcoming Olympics.
The motorcade carrying the Torch of Hope commenced today's leg of the journey from the historic city of Polonnaruwa at an event which is held under the auspices of Assistant Director Secretary H.K. Ganganini Roshna and Chief Inspector of Polonnaruwa J.S.M. Jarul. The event also saw the participation of sportsmen and women from surrounding schools as well as local residents. The first stop of the day was Batticaloa town. The Torch of Hope was accepted by the District Secretary of Batticaloa PSM Charles and Additional Secretary S. Giridharan. The final stop of the motorcade for the day was the Ampara town. The ceremony to mark the conclusion of today's journey was held under the auspices of HQY of Ampara, DCD Langakon and Assistant Secretary of the National Youth Services Council, Ganga Sagarika.
An official event was held at the auditorium of the National Olympic Committee today for the Sri Lankan contingent that will take part in the Rio Olympics. The event was graced by Minister of Sports Dasiri Jayasekara.
Everybody is looking forward, certainly we in Sri Lanka is looking forward to it.
The Sri Lankan contingent for the 2016 Rio Olympics met President Maithripala Sirisena today.
While wishing the sportsmen and women success, the President also blessed them to achieve victory for the motherland.
While you bring glory and honor to the country, our aspiration is to further encourage and strengthen you. Your trainers and coaches, your consultants and your parents have made tremendous sacrifices for your future. As a government, we will give you all the support we can. This will be a victory in your personal life as well as a victory for the country.
The 2016 Olympic Games will be held in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil from the 5th to the 21st of August. 9 sportsmen and women will represent Sri Lanka. A souvenir stamp and first day cover issued by the Postal Department to mark Olympic Games 2016 were presented to the President on this occasion.
Sri Lanka has been declared free of lymphatic filariasis or filaria.
Members of the health sector gathered at the Bandaranayake Memorial International Conference Hall for a key announcement that is beneficial to Sri Lanka.
It is with great pleasure and pride that I join you today to celebrate Sri Lanka's elimination of lymphatic filariasis as a public health problem. Lymphatic filariasis is a disease that should have no place in the world today. It is a disease that disfigures and disables, and it is a disease that stigmatizes and impoverishes. Most importantly, though, it is a disease that can be prevented and eliminated. In this regard, I congratulate Sri Lanka's health authorities for their concerted efforts in lifting the burden of lymphatic filariasis from vulnerable communities across the country, which is a true reflection of a strong commitment of the government and the political leadership to improve health of its people, particularly the most marginalized.
According to the anti-filariasis campaign of the Ministry of Health, 2 types of filarial parasites were reported from Sri Lanka. According to their website, in Sri Lanka, microfilaria rate was below 1% over the past 15 to 20 years, and with the mass drug administration, microfilaria rate declined drastically. In April 2011, the World Health Organization declared that Sri Lanka is one of the first countries in the Southeast Asia region qualified to initiate the verification process by World Health Organization for certification of elimination of the disease. And thus today the announcement was made that Sri Lanka was free of the disease.
I applaud the leadership of the WHO for raising the profile of tropical neglected diseases and placing a higher priority on them as causes of poverty and hence underdevelopment. I am very happy and thankful to WHO for granting this certification on elimination. Sri Lanka achieved this goal through an organized control program. I firmly believe that we are a regional as well as a global role model in controlling communicable diseases. We will be getting the certification of elimination for malaria in the near future, and we have been able to bring down the mortality due to dengue in Sri Lanka.
The Director General of Health Services echoed the sentiments of the Minister.
Lymphatic filariasis, although not a deadly disease, it is one of the world's leading cause of permanent and long-term disability. In Sri Lanka, lymphatic filariasis can be tracked back to the 3rd century BC. Even though the disease was known from the past, there is no definite information as to whether the disease has existed in the country from very early times or whether it had been introduced as a result of trade and invasion by foreigners. And today, achieving the certification of eliminating filariasis, a wonderful achievement.
Sri Lanka and the Maldives are the only countries in Asia that are filaria free.
The foundation stone for a $23 million lubricant manufacturing plant in Muthurajawala was placed today. Deputy Minister Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamid, who arrived in the country earlier this morning, attended the event.
The manufacturing plant is a joint venture of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and Hywax Oil, a Malaysian manufacturer of petroleum derivatives. The event was graced by the Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, and Chandima Wirakodi, the Minister of Petroleum and Petroleum Gas.
CPC, which did not have a plant since early 90s, will be blessed to own a plant in 10 years' time. A plant which is not just a plant, which is equipped with modern technology, will be able to supply Sri Lankan manufactured Sipetco lubricants to our customers. Hyrex Sipetco combination will be able to give the best price to the end user in Sri Lanka. We will be able to not only give the best price, but the best quality product.
The collaboration between Hyrex Oil and Sri Lanka's national oil company, Ceylon Petroleum Corporation or CPC, testifies the commitment and good relationships, not only between the business community of our two countries, but also at the government-to-government level. This new manufacturing setup will not only create more jobs here, but will also generate more business opportunities for both Malaysia and Sri Lanka.
The 4 million litre per month lubricant blending plant is being constructed in Muthurajawala. A model of the complex was inspected by the Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia.
Addressing a media briefing in Colombo today, Minister Faisal Mustafa expressed his views on when the local government elections would be held.
Several individuals have named several time periods on when the elections will be held. I state with responsibility that we will try our best to hold elections before the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. We will do everything required to hold elections before that.
The minister also expressed his views on the tax in property.
We are trying to issue a tax in property number, especially to the slum dwellers. The legality of this is a different problem. Some people try a lot to get this assessment tax number. Some go behind it. We have instructed the local government institutions to follow a systematic method to deal with this. They obtain approval to purchase a 3-story building. Then they go ahead and buy a 5-storied building. However, the local government institutions are liable to render their services to those 5 to 6 stories.
On the 8th of January, citizens of this country voted against fraud and corruption. But what has happened today? The person who commits minor offences is forced to pay millions in fines. Namal Rajpaksa, who deposited 70 million to his account in broad daylight, is only fined 50,000 rupees. Educated citizens of this country understand what is happening. If you are in a national government, there is no point in requesting for a lion's share of the SLFP. Does anyone say that the President is attempting to tear apart the UMP? The President stands with the people's verdict that was issued on the 8th of January. Those in the government also do not have a right to demand for a lion's share of the SLFP. If a change is required in Parliament, then the government too should be formed by President Maithripala Sirisena in 2027.
Speaking at a media briefing held in Colombo today, Minister of Public Enterprise Development Kabir Hashim spoke on the restructuring process of the Sri Lanka Airlines.
Sri Lankan Guan Samagama Prati.
The necessary process has been undertaken by our ministry to restructure the Sri Lankan Airlines. We are not ready as a government to allocate any funds for this purpose. We are looking out for a company that could manage and invest in the airline. We are holding discussions on the level of ownership of the airline based on the proposals and investments put forward by the company. Our hope is that the state would have more ownership. However, although the state will have more ownership, we do not hope to handle the management of the airline. It is mainly because we have not been able to manage the airline in the past.
Views were expressed today as well on the controversial coal transactions.
Based on the information the ministry provides us, this year we purchased 2.2 million metric tons of coal through a new system. Based on our calculations, if you consider the cost at which the old supplier provided coal and the new system we adopted, we can state clearly that the country was able to gain a profit of 1.1 billion rupees through this new scheme. In some instances, they have attempted to highlight a large loss. This argument is flawed. The CEB nor the country has incurred a loss as a result of this transaction. The Auditor General himself will conduct an in-depth inquiry into this. During a committee meeting held in Parliament yesterday, the Auditor General stated that he would be expressing his opinion after a thorough study on the details. We have provided all the information from the ministry. If someone has committed a wrong, we are not afraid to expose it. We are deeply saddened by the state of affairs that has arisen where ministers are misled by officials. We have this report compiled by the Auditor General's department. It clearly states that by these malpractices, the country has suffered massive losses. The minister had been misled by the Secretary of the Ministry of Power and Energy and further given false information to the Parliament and the country.
A memorandum of understanding was signed today in Colombo between the Sri Lanka Institute of Local Governance and the Kerala Institute of Local Administration in India.
The MOU was signed and exchanged between the Minister of Local Government and Provincial Council and Director of the Kerala Institute of Local Administration. The objective of the MOU is to further strengthen and exchange experiences between the local governing bodies of Sri Lanka and India.
His Excellency the President and the Prime Minister are working hard towards cleansing local bodies with regard to genuine income generation of local bodies. 30 to 40% of the revenue or more have not been collected, and they're totally dependent on the central government. So that dependency has to reduce. And with regard to women participation and leadership, with regard to local bodies, we have less than 2%. Women today in the political arena unfortunately do not have a due place. We have to create the platform, create the atmosphere. For that, we have to change the mindset of officials, of the public and elected representatives.
Now we are using the service of the retired people. A lot of people are there. They are in the technical advisory group of the Panchayat. They are helping the Panchayat to vetting the plan and also for implementing the plan. So in addition to the officials, the NGOs are also helping. So nobody is left out in the system of local governance. We are involving everybody. And we are also giving training to the political party leaders. Unless and until the political party leaders are not supporting the system, this local governance system will not work.
With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudannaika.
And I'm Sandru Ferdinando. Do take care and good night.